I shouldn't have looked back in the woods. The rain tasted like ash. It plastered my hair to my forehead as I stared out at the wall of trees, the Blackwood National Forest swallowing the last sliver of daylight. I hadn't wanted this, not again. Sheriff Brody's words still echoed in my ears, gravelly and insistent. Elias, you're the best we got. Kid went missing yesterday. College kid. Wandered off trail. Family's frantic. He knew I lived just outside the park. Knew I volunteered with SAR for longer than I cared to remember. He also knew why I hesitated these days. Blackwood's a bitch, Brody, I'd said, trying to keep the edge out of my voice. Especially that section. People get lost, they stay lost. He'd just given me that look. The one that said, don't give me that crap, Elias. You owe it to them. You owe it to yourself. So here I was. Sarah, a young woman barely out of her training, stood beside me, her eyes bright with nervous energy. Ready when you are, Elias. She saw me as some kind of legend, I could tell. Saw the SAR patches on my worn jacket, the faded scars on my hands, and imagined a hero. She didn't see the ghosts that followed me. Let's go, I said, my voice flat. The forest swallowed us whole. The first day was a blur of green and gray. We followed the faint trail, the rain turning the mud slick and treacherous. Other volunteers fanned out, their voices distant echoes in the dense undergrowth. We found nothing. The air hung heavy, a suffocating blanket of humidity and something else I couldn't quite name, a sense of wrongness. Blackwood always had a way of getting under your skin, but this was different. By nightfall, we'd reached Tom's last known location, a small, overgrown clearing. A flattened patch of ground marked where he'd pitched his tent. Empty water bottles lay scattered around. Half-eaten granola bars. The scene was too clean, too ordinary, except for the rock. Sitting in the center of the fire pit, a single bloodied rock, not just stained, caked, and it was deliberately placed like some kind of offering. I felt a chill crawl up my spine despite the oppressive humidity. Elias, Sarah asked, her voice hesitant. You okay? Fine, I lied. Let's set up camp. We'll pick this up in the morning. But I didn't sleep. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig, sounded like footsteps, and then I heard it. A faint whisper so low it could have been the wind. Look back. I sat bolt upright, my heart hammering against my ribs. I scanned the darkness but saw nothing. Just your imagination, I muttered. Too much coffee. But the feeling lingered, the feeling of being watched, of something ancient and malevolent lurking just beyond the edge of the firelight. The next morning, Sarah was worried. You look terrible, she said, handing me a mug of lukewarm coffee. Didn't sleep well, I admitted. I didn't tell her about the whisper. She wouldn't understand. We continued the search, following the faint trail deeper into the woods. The terrain grew steeper, the undergrowth thicker. The feeling of unease intensified. Elias, I don't like this, Sarah said, her voice trembling slightly. Something feels off. I know, I said, my voice barely a whisper. We found more signs. Scratches on trees that looked too deliberate to be made by animals. Strange formations of stones arranged in unnatural patterns. And then I heard it again. Look back, louder this time, closer. It felt like the voice was inside my head. I stopped, my hand flying to my head. Did you hear that? I asked Sarah. She looked at me, her brow furrowed. Hear what? The voice, I stammered. The whispering. Elias, I don't hear anything. You're stressed. We all are. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe it was just my imagination, the woods playing tricks on me. But I knew deep down that it was something more. We stumbled upon him later that afternoon. Deacon Miller. He lived deep in the woods, a hermit who knew Blackwood like the back of his hand. He was a skinny old man with eyes that were too bright, too knowing. You shouldn't be here, he rasped, his voice like dry leaves skittering across pavement. This place is hungry. It doesn't like to be disturbed. We're looking for a missing hiker, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He chuckled, a dry, humorless sound. He's gone to them now. Leave him be, you can't bring him back, them. Sarah asked, her voice filled with disbelief. Who's them? Deacon Miller's eyes narrowed. The old things, the ones that dwell in the shadows. They've been here longer than you can imagine. Longer than anyone can imagine. He pointed a gnarled finger deeper into the woods. Turn back. Before it's too late. We ignored him, of course. We had a job to do. But his words stayed with me, clinging to me like cobwebs. That night, the nightmare started. Vivid, terrifying images of twisted trees, shadowy figures, and a whispering voice that promised unspeakable horrors. I woke up in a cold sweat, the voice echoing in my head. Look back. I couldn't shake it. The feeling of being watched, the whispering voice, the unsettling signs in the forest. It was all converging, building into a crescendo of dread. The third day, I lost it. We were following a faint game trail when I saw it. A symbol carved into a tree, a circle with a line through it, almost like an eye. The same symbol I'd seen in my nightmares. The same symbol Deacon Miller had hinted at. The voice was deafening now, a constant barrage of whispers urging me to look back, to acknowledge something I didn't want to see. Elias, what's wrong? Sarah asked, her voice filled with concern. We need to go back, I said, my voice trembling. We need to get out of here. Elias, we can't just give up, she protested. A kid's life could depend on it. He's gone, I said, my voice hollow. He's already gone. I started walking, blindly pushing my way through the undergrowth, the voice guiding me, pulling me deeper into the woods. "Elias, where are you going?" Sarah called after me. Elias, she followed me, of course. She was worried about me. She thought I was having a breakdown. I was, but it wasn't just stress. It was something else, something ancient and malevolent. We reached a clearing, a small, circular space bathed in an unnatural twilight, even though it was midday. An ancient, gnarled tree stood in the center, its branches twisted and contorted like skeletal arms, and around the base of the tree, stones arranged in a crude circle, mirroring the symbol I had seen carved into the tree. The whispering voice reached a fever pitch, overwhelming me. "Look back, Elias, look back and see the truth." I couldn't resist anymore. I turned, and I saw it. Just a glimpse, a fleeting shadow in the periphery, a formless, shapeless entity that defied description. It was wrong, utterly, fundamentally wrong. The voice, now a booming, triumphant roar, filled my head. "We have been waiting for you, Elias," Sarah screamed. I don't remember much after that. Just the feeling of overwhelming terror of being touched by something cold and ancient. I snapped out of it when Sarah grabbed my arm, pulling me back, away from the clearing. "Elias, what was that?" she screamed, her face pale with fear. "What did you see?" "We need to go," I stammered, my voice hoarse. "We need to get out of here now." We ran as fast as we could, blindly stumbling through the undergrowth, the forest seeming to conspire against us. Thorns tore at our clothes, roots tripped us, and the trees seemed to reach out to grab us. We finally made it back to the main trail, to the relative safety of the other volunteers. Sheriff Brody was furious. "Where the hell have you been?" he roared. "We were about to send out a search party for you," I tried to explain, to tell them what I had seen, what I had heard. But my words came out jumbled and incoherent. "He's lost it, Sheriff," Sarah said, her voice strained. "He's been hallucinating. He needs medical attention." They called off the search. They said it was too dangerous. They said the weather was turning. They said Tom was probably dead. I went home, but I couldn't escape it. The whispering voice still haunts me, even in my sleep. I see glimpses of the thing in the corners of my vision, a constant reminder of what I witnessed in the woods. I sit on my porch, staring out at the forest, listening to the wind rustling through the trees. I know that the thing is still out there, waiting. I don't know what it's waiting for. Maybe it's waiting for me. Maybe it's waiting for someone else. All I know is that I shouldn't have looked back in the woods. I should have listened to my gut. I should have stayed away from Blackwood. Now it's too late. The woods have claimed me, and I don't think I'll ever be free.